Justin Lawman to join us. Justin Lawman is our political analyst and commentator straight from Canberra, and he's going to be giving us an update about what's going on in Australia and around the world that we should pay attention to. Good morning to you, Justin. It's great to have you this week with us.
Hey, mate, how are you going today?
I'm doing well. By the way, I have a bloke here that spent some time in Canberra. Do you know a guy by the name of Elliot Kazari? Have you met him? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have.
All right.
I meet a lot of people, but
I think I have met Justin before.
Oh,
I know
there
he
you go.
knows my brother probably better than he knows me, but I have met him.
All right.
Yeah.
There you
Good
go.
on you. How you doing, Elliot?
I'm well, thank you. How are you, Justin?
You're a radio man these days, are you?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, he has the voice already for it. You know, he has
He
a good
does, doesn't
genetics.
he?
The
Yeah.
genetics are helping that for sure. A good voice.
Bit of an up-and-coming star here, mate.
Hey, Justin, are we able to cruise through the Strait of Hormuz now in peace? Because I heard some talks that, Iran had opened up and then it closed down. What's happening, my friend? It's very confusing for me.
I think there's no one that's not confused on every side. Every
so
side,
true.
everyone's confused. What we know, the ceasefire ends tomorrow our time or overnight, Wednesday American time. The Americans have continued to interdict vessels to stop the ships that are coming in and out that would assist Iran. Apparently, there's a weapons cache they got off one ship from China.
Oh, wow.
They put a shell through the engine room of another Iranian vessel that wouldn't stop. They followed it for 6 hours and then they stopped it. And they're boarding these vessels now with Marines. So it goes on. Trump thinks he can do a deal. I've said from the beginning, these are hardline Islamic guys. They're not into doing practical deals. They're driven by ideology and beliefs. So within Iran, there seems to be a lot of division forming as well. The IRGC, which is the Iranian Republican Guard, they are hardline Islamic fundamentalists, and they have all the power. They seem to be doing stuff different to what the political leaders are saying we're going to do. So, yeah, it's a proper mess, mate. It's a proper mess.
It's a proper mess. And one thing that we haven't spoke about is that the U.S. had declared a blockade on top of Iran's blockade, which I found it was a very interesting military move right there.
Yeah. A lot of commentators said they should have done this earlier. This stops Iran getting money because they send contraband oil to China and India and other places, and they've been allowing those ships to leave the strait, but no one else's ships.
Okay.
So America says, well, no, you guys not going to get it your way. So they have been, taking on, the US has been taking on these oil tankers, which, the price of fuel in Australia has gone down, I've noticed just recently, little, but this is far from resolved, and the shortage is still, that's still going to come through the system at some point for us.
And have you seen the efforts of Prime Minister Albanese in visiting, countries like Malaysia and I think Brunei that try to secure oil for Australia? What do we make of that?
I say good on the Prime Minister for trying. Like, I'm not always the Prime Minister's big fan here, so I've got to give him credit where credit's due. He came home and he said he's got 100 million litres, and then someone said, yeah, that lasts a day.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how successful that's been. They've got to try. Good on them for trying.
Yes, man. And what about that fire that broke off in the Geelong fuel refinery?
I know.
Isn't that suspicious? Isn't that very strange?
Coincidence. No, that's just coincidence.
I mean, of all the time, like this plant has been operating for God knows how many decades now, and right now we have a fire.
We have a big advantage, and this has become a political issue, is our natural gas resources. So Singapore and these places, they get their natural gas, a lot of it from the Middle East. They can't now, so they're coming to us, and we have tons of this stuff. There's a debate going on in the Parliament right now. There's a Punters Politics. I don't know whether you've ever heard of that guy.
Yeah, I have.
He's actually connected to Adventists up in the Northern Rivers. Conrad Benjamin, about the gas tax. Because at the moment, Australia's making next to nothing from all this natural gas. We have it as a bargaining chip to get fuel from countries that need the natural gas. So we're saying Singapore and places, we'll send you natural gas, you send us fuel.
Yeah,
But
that would be a good deal if we can.
the Australian people are waking up to the fact that we are basically giving this to these companies, and we get more tax benefit from the sale of beer than we do from the sale of our enormous natural gas resources. So places like Norway that put like a 25% tax on it, the whole country benefits from the sale of this natural resource. We're being really hung out to dry on this issue. So that's a big thing that's going on in politics at the moment in Australia, and I don't think that's going to go away.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it looks like sometimes that politicians tax the things they shouldn't be taxing, and they don't tax the things they should be taxing. Like, we're talking about a resource that belongs to the Australian nation, to every Australian person, and yet we're giving it away pretty much for free. I mean, the average Australian is not seeing a single penny of that. And it makes you scratch your head. And this is something that our foreign customers, I think, would be glad to pay, maybe a 10, 20, 30% excise on top of.
Well, something's come out. We sell natural gas to Japan. The Japanese government gets more tax from the sale in Japan of our gas than what we get from it. This
Wow.
is absurd, mate.
Yeah, it is an absurd. It is an absolutely
That's
absurd.
ridiculous.
Yeah. So look, I'm glad that sometimes some people, they look into, they crunch into this number and say, "Hey, wait a minute, everyone. Can you help me make sense out of that, because it doesn't make any."
Yeah, and look, while this war's going on and the war in Ukraine and Russia, shocking things, we'd love them to stop. The world's debt is just ticking over. Australia's debt is about to hit officially $1 trillion.
Oh, wow. That's not a good mark.
The US have already spent $1 trillion in the Middle East in this current conflict, and inflation and deflating the currency. This is just rolling on in the background, and no one's paying a lot of attention to that. The world's biggest single problem, I think, today is its indebtedness. It's going to cause a massive correction at some point, and we're really run out of options to the only option America has to keep things going is to print more money, which is really how you rob people of the value of their dollars.
Yeah.
So the world's got a big problem with debt. And when we don't even put any tax on these natural resources, or very little, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
I agree with you. And look, and the other thing that I've been noticing is that these massive big movements, particularly in the United States stock exchanges, every time that there's a tweet, the market is either going, way up or way down. There's a lot of people making money with that, because you would expect that the market would be more stable. Say, hey, we actually only going to believe it when we see it. But no, every time that there's anything in the news, any tweet from either Iran or the United States president, someone or something like that, the markets are so rattled. It makes me also wonder: are there people profiting from that?
And I wonder, Scaffy, whether there's really how real the markets are in this day and age when there's so many either big corporations which have as much money as a country does, BlackRock and the like, and then you have America and other big economies that they clearly are tampering with markets to make things look better than they are. And the use of AI within the markets themselves, I think the market reflecting, it used to be the market would tell you what the future looks like in the eyes of multiple, thousands of people. They were saying, oh, that's a great bet, this is a bad bet, and they would put money or take it away, and it would tell you a little bit about reality. I think reality has left the markets, and the way the stock market's breaking records at the moment makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, it's a good
in
point.
the US, they're on the verge of a financial crisis with real estate agents just aren't selling stuff. There's all sorts of things going on. The market should reflect that, but instead it's like, yeah, these are great times when everyone sort of knows that's not reality.
Yeah, very well said. And speaking of AI, have you seen that for the first time, apparently ever, a full trench position was occupied by Ukraine on a Russian position using only robots, and no single human being was there present to occupy that that land. So robots versus humans.
A mate of mine sent me a link on that. Oh, that was you, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was me.
That's amazing.
I think that Justin's going to find it interesting.
And did you see the marathon that's just been run in China, where they have the normal runners and they have the robot runners? Last year, the robots were an embarrassment. This year, 3 robots beat the first human being.
Wow.
In a marathon.
That is insane. And I have
crazy how fast this is developing.
Yeah.
And now, look, AI has taken over the battlefield on the Ukrainian side largely, and they're getting massive wins against Russia where they haven't seen that for a long time. So the world's changing fast, guys. And you know that in 2016 there were 0 data centers built in America. There were none.
Oh, really?
Now there's over 4,000 of these massive data centers.
Wow.
We're getting left behind as a country because of our electrical grid.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another thing that's really coming down the hill at us is the power and the influence of artificial intelligence.
I didn't know that there were no data centers. That's actually fascinating. And it makes sense now how Elon Musk and the likes are talking about having data centers on the moon, in the space as well. I mean, there's we are running out of space on Earth for data centers apparently.
I think that the foreseeable future, and we're so glad we know Jesus is coming, guys, because the world's getting itself into such trouble.
Yeah.
It's not going to have solutions. But in the next little bit, whoever wins this AI race, they win. And that's the power struggle that's going on right now. And countries need enormous amounts of electricity all of a sudden. And Australia has gone so far down one road, which is the renewables, which really cannot supply what our needs are for these data centers.
Yes, and look, Justin, when I see these AI powered things, I do not know if you've seen in that amazing rescue of the downed colonel. Apparently, he was a Christian, by the way. You know that the F-15 Strike Eagle colonel?
Yep.
Apparently,
yeah, I believe
his first message that he sent when he was able to send a message to the command was "God is good."
Amen.
He said God is good,
Wow.
and actually they had like the intelligence, the signals officer saying, "What does it mean? Is this some kind of code? Is this some kind of distress signal? What is he saying?" And then someone said, "No, he's just a Christian guy and saying that he's praising God because he's alive, he's safe. He's just an expression of his faith there." But they found him using that new. There's a new machine called Ghost Murmur. I do not know if you've seen this one. Which this is what the CIA posted. Who knows if this is like just counterintelligence or if it's actual thing. But basically, they were able to locate him by his heartbeat, and then they use an AI to remove all the surrounding noise and find his unique heartbeat signature. That's why they were able to find him in the cleft of a rock that he was hiding in. So I was
It's
thinking
unreal,
here,
mate.
It's unreal. And I'm thinking here, because we see in the book of Revelation that for those who were willing and to honor God, to fear him, to stay true and faithful to his commandments, they are also going to be persecuted. And I'm thinking, man, is this the kinds of technologies that will be used against the saints in the last days?
It's come to a whole new scary place right now with this technology. And I saw a comment that they spent over 300 million locating that downed airman, the weapons operator, 300 million. And that's about the same amount, a little bit more they've used to try and prosecute Ben Robert Smith, our SAS soldier who won the Victoria Cross.
Yeah, and I want to talk to you about that as well, because
fascinating.
that is also a very strange story to me, because even in his first defamation case, the judge says, look, it is pretty much impossible to meet that bar of beyond reasonable doubt. If you have nobody, you have, the witnesses that were witnessing against him were suspicious witnesses. It looks like it's a bit of a manhunt or witch hunt against Robert Smith. Don't you? Do you have the same impression?
Very few human beings in the history of this country have won something called the Victoria Cross. It's like the Congressional Medal of Honor that Desmond Doss was awarded in the Second World War. That's the British, and the Australian version of that is the Victoria Cross. They seem to be putting a heck of a lot of resources into a prosecution where they have no names, no bodies. It's going on witness accounts. Now, we want our soldiers to be ethical, and everyone should be accountable. I've no problems with that. But boy, oh boy, they're really, this is 10 years on and they're still on this.
Yeah.
It just seems a bit of a vendetta to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's some allegations there that some of the Afghanis that they were bringing to depose against him were promised, like, if you say bad things about him, you're going to get you're going to get a good life here in Australia. We're going to pay you handsomely. So these are some very serious allegations coming from the side that is accusing him.
Channel 9 paid like $900,000 to a witness, and the problem with this is the way law is practiced should not be compromised because of the media or whatever. You have the presumption of innocence and the right to a trial. Now, all those things are happening, but I tell you what, this is being played out so much in the media, you wonder whether a fair trial can really take place.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really pray for a fair trial. Again, as you mentioned, there are rules of engagement, but it looks like from what I have been seeing that these accusations are far from being definite against Robert Smith from what I have seen in the media. So I'm praying that this is going to come an outcome where the truth can come to the fore, and if he's really innocent as he maintains, and as I personally, just from staying on the outside, I want to believe that he is. I hope that he can just get his life back, because 10 years being persecuted nonstop, as you mentioned, $300 million have been spent in that case already. Let's just move on.
Look, Anzac Day is coming up this weekend, and Anzac Day to me is the most spiritual day in Australia's cultural calendar. They sing hymns, they have prayers. I attend the dawn service or one of the services during the day. I think it's a great thing as a country. We remember those that have sacrificed for us, and I have enormous respect for men and women who have served to protect others.
Yeah.
And I just think all those things need to be taken into account.
Absolutely. Justin, thank you so much for your time today. We're looking forward to chat with you again next week on Monday.
Thanks for being a part of the Faith FM family. Join our community on Facebook or get in touch at 1-800-FAITH-FM.